So thank you for the invitation, and it's good to be here at the Banking Forum. And whilst I've missed the discussions throughout the day, clearly innovation in banking, or moreover competition in banking, is really the theme for MasterCard, as well as, of course, for everyone in this room. And for competition to succeed, it's all about differentiating, and it's about whether we differentiate with products, services, differentiate our brand, differentiate our pricing, or differentiate the customer experience. All of those things are really important. And what I plan to do in the next 15, 20 minutes is just to talk a bit about how innovating in a world beyond cash can play a key role in that differentiation and therefore driving competition in the world of banking. In a regulated world, and I'm sure there'll be some questions on that later, competition is tough because there are limitations on what we can do and achieve. But MasterCard is a technology company. People think about it as a credit card company or a payments company, but fundamentally, it's a technology company with a global network and with global reach. We have some 2 billion cards out there in the market globally, and 55 million of those are active and actively being used in the UK. We have 33 million acceptance points around the globe, so those are physical, offline points of acceptance where a MasterCard card can be used. And we have 23,000 distribution relationships with banks or financial institutions. So I use those stats just to give a sense of reach, scale, and the importance of using technology and that global network to drive innovation globally, as well as here in the UK. We deal with banks, of course. We also deal directly with acquirers, with merchants, with other financial institutions, with retailers, and to supply value to them, for them to supply to their customers, be they government departments, corporates, or consumers. So I just wanted to highlight that whilst MasterCard, there's 2 billion out there in the market, MasterCard doesn't have the relationship directly with the consumer. We're a B2B2C company, as they say. But our focus is to provide services that differentiate and provide value for banks and those other customers of ours to supply to their customers. And therefore, that consumer which drives the demand is at the heart of everything we do. And whilst we don't deal directly with consumers, we have to use our insight, our intelligence, our partnerships, and our technology to make sure we understand what those consumers really want. And to give a scale of what that means in terms of transactions, whilst I stand here for 15 to 20 minutes, MasterCard will have transacted some 3 billion transactions, or in 1 second, 2.5 million transactions go through our processing centres. So it just gives you a scale of what is happening around us as we sit here. And each day, every one of us makes payments. We don't think about it, we don't want to think about it, we just want it to be hassle-free, quick, simple, but moreover, we want it to be safe and secure. And if I take myself as an example of one, and this morning, and being a commuter, I got to Leighton Buzzard Station from where I commute, got to the train station, and exasperation hit me straight on. 26 people in the queue in front of me. Now, I was so exasperated, I even took the time to count them because I was so fed up. The ticket machine wasn't working, 26 people. I managed to get the ticket, get on the train, get to the station, get a cup of coffee, so fed up with trains, get a taxi, sign on the taxi, cash only. So I thought, is this serendipity that we're talking about, and I'm talking about a world beyond cash? And yet my journey in this morning, absolutely true, has been fraught with frustrations around paying quickly, paying simply. And so it's for those frustrations, and of course there are many more which I'll touch on, that MasterCard believes passionately in a world beyond cash. We believe that it can, oil the engines of economies and society. And a world beyond cash also means a world beyond plastic. Whilst having that plastic this morning, it didn't help me get in front of those 26 other people in the queue, and it didn't particularly speed that queue up. So when we talk about innovation in a world beyond cash, it's about plastic to some extent, but it's about extending that into, of course, the smartphone, which I heard the previous speaker talking about. And the reason this is so important is that, hard to believe as it is, and I hear this statistic a lot, and it never ceases to amaze me, but 85% of all payment transactions in the globe are still done in cash. 15% happen electronically. In the UK, clearly the statistic is different. It's 40% electronically, but still 60% of day-to-day transactions happen in cash. And whilst clearly cash will always exist, and we do believe that, not just because technology doesn't reach every corner of the globe, but of course there are those that choose to use and pay in cash. And I'm not referring to the taxi driver, but of course cash will also play a part in the grey and black economies, and that will continue to exist. But technology can help change that and help reduce that. So imagine a world where it's not 85-15, but it's 15-85. So that we have 15% of global payments in cash and 85% electronically. That means a 70% increase in the number of electronic payments. And that's really exciting, no matter where you sit in the supply chain, to see that potential of growth clearly over a number of years creates a huge growth market and huge potential that brings real tangible benefits to financial institutions and, of course, to their customers. The smartphone, as I've said, is the way forward. And the reason is that 70% of the UK population, and I don't know how far down in age that goes, but probably quite young, owns a smartphone. Not a mobile phone, but a smartphone. And 20% or so of the global population owns a smartphone. And that's clearly growing year on year. And so we can see that this device is becoming that ubiquitous payment method as we move forward. And it'll be a primary channel, not just for information, not just for communication, not just for data, but also to transact. And it can profoundly change the shopping experience and the buying experience that we all aim to enjoy. And it is about convergence. It isn't just online. People don't want to just shop online. They want to shop offline, online, on the go, internationally. They want to import and they want to export. And we need to recognise that as we provide these solutions to our customers. The other point I want to make, and I'm just going to show a little clip later on, is it also enables financial inclusion. And that means allowing those that cannot access the internet the ability to do so. Those that cannot access a bank account, the ability to do so. And I want to highlight that, which is really important when you think about those messages of differentiation, because it's also about differentiating brand and how those brands service not just their customers, but the broader economy and the world as a whole. And as a technology company, we are constantly trying to innovate. We do that with our own resources, and we have MasterCard Labs, which is our global innovation centre, which is centred in Dublin, so not far away, which gives me the opportunity to leverage those skills. And the lead there, Gary Lyons, always says he has one of the best jobs in the world because he's paid to play. He plays with technology to look at and create the art, the art of the possible. What will the future look like? They won't all go to market. They won't all be commercialised. They won't be all turned into product. But it's important that we explore, that we invest in innovation to discover what we can do and what we will do. And as I say, there's a little clip later that shows an example of that. We recognise that we have to create value. We have to create value for banks to provide to their consumers. And we want to do that in a more connected lifestyle. My experience this morning, the different experiences you will have, we all want to be connected, we all want it to be hassle-free, but moreover, we want it to be secure and safe. But we also want, as I've said, that convergence, that physical experience. And one little anecdote, one of our great partners is the John Lewis Partnership. We work with them extensively to try and support their payments approach, but also their online and convergence experience. And what they've found is that typically for John Lewis, people will browse online, go into the store to check it out, to feel it, touch it, look at it, see if it matches, whatever they want to do. They go home and order it. They will have it delivered to their home. But if they want to take it back, more often, and it's a big more often, they will physically take it back to the store and want it back at the store because they want that refund experience face to face. They want to know that it's been credited to their card. So John Lewis designs its delivery, its website, and its activities around those consumer experiences. I work in Canary Wharf, or based in Canary Wharf. If you go down into the M&S food store in the corner, is one example of every product. Because as you're buying your lunch, your sandwich, etc., you can go and look at that product, touch it, feel it, then you can go home or to the office, order. You can have it delivered to that store, even though it's a food store, because you're not at home for deliverers, and you can also try it on at the office and take it back to that store. So M&S are using its retail outlets for click and collect, in effect, for clothing, even though it's a food store. So it's this combination of physical and online that's really, really important to merchants. And that payment experience needs to be consistent whichever way we go. And that's important because of MasterCard cardholders, as I said, there are 55 million in the UK, 70% of them are shopping online or are transacting online, which is significant. And last year, that 70% spent approximately £70 billion, which is significant indeed if you think about what that means to merchant sales, transactions, the economy, and growth in our market. However, the experience has to be a good experience because at that shopping cart, there's about 51% abandonment rate. The point when it comes to making the payment is typically when that shopping cart is abandoned. Now, it might be that someone's had a second thought and thought, oh gosh, I can't really afford this. But moreover, it's because that experience is difficult, cumbersome, delivery address, billing address, 16-digit card number, CVC number, start date, expiry date, and then you'll go into a security routine. And typically people will abandon, or 51% abandon at that point. And that's a problem that we need to be solved. And so another example might be, you will have read recently that O2 have abandoned their wallet and stopped it. And the reasons behind that, and I can't speak on behalf of O2, of course, but you know, people don't want an Indiana Jones experience. They don't want it to be here, check this, find that, do that, move to here. You want a single click. You want that experience where it's, yes, I want it, pay, and then you need to know the knowledge that it's secure, it's safe, you will get an e-receipt, and it will arrive at your home in the time that you've asked for it to be delivered. And so last year, MasterCard launched its MasterPass wallet, the digital wallet. You will have heard about this. And the reason that's important, we launched that at the Mobile World Congress last year. And the reason the wallet's important is because for banks, it gives them greater distribution opportunity for their services and goods. It means that their consumers can use any payment type. So MasterPass wallet, you can put a Visa card, an Amex card, a PayPal account, any payment type into that wallet, plus, of course, loyalty and rewards that are on the system as we move into that world. So all that stuff you have in your wallet that I certainly have in my purse in terms of multiple cards, multiple vouchers, multiple discount or loyalty cards can, over time, be digitized and be in that digital wallet, which is secure to you as an individual. MasterPass was launched last year in the UK, and there's building momentum. This does take time to do it right, get it right and do it correctly. And we're launching with some very big merchants this year. We've gone live in 9 countries, and it will be 14 by the end of this year. And that's also terribly important for our economy and for our services, because we have 16 million online overseas consumers buying from UK websites. And this information that I'm quoting comes from Spending Pulse, which is the MasterCard data, because we obviously can analyse all of those transactions that are happening second by second. So we have 16 million online shoppers who are buying off British websites from overseas. And those 16 million last year spent about £10 billion in purchases from overseas to a British website or buying British goods. And so to deliver innovation, we partner. When we partner clearly with the customers I've spoken about, but I think it's terribly important to highlight that we partner with technology companies, small and large. We invest, we will acquire where appropriate, but we will work with the innovators in the industry to speed up our time to market and to provide the goods and services that you need. And some examples of this, I'm just going to highlight. Last year, we launched a 5-year partnership with EE, Everything Everywhere, to embed payment capability in the SIM of every phone that you buy through EE. Now, what that enables is a payment capability, which is a store value capability, which the consumer can then top up. It isn't a live, open-loop payment system, but it's a store value capability that also provides contactless. That was launched last year. We now have several thousand customers who are using their phone to tap and go, and it's in the SIM of the phone. That's just one example. And there'll be other examples being launched this week, in fact, with other MNOs, mobile network operators, to move forward that capability. So it won't just be store value capability, but it will be direct to your financial wallet, which will be in your phone. So that's coming later on this year. So with EE, that enables this gadget to be tap and go, the information to be provided to you, and an e-receipt to be delivered to you. Another example in a completely different sphere, with Barclays last year, we launched the pay band. You know, the plastic bands that charities, etc., give you? Well, those can also be enabled to make a payment. We can put a payment capability, a store value, preloaded payment capability in a wristband. And now these are fantastic. So the concert in the Summertime Festival in Hyde Park last year, 60,000 users had the pay band. And the reason that's great is it means people don't need to take cash into those concerts. If you have teenagers, that's quite appealing when they're going to the Reading Festival or something of those sites, as my 18-year-old did last year. They've not got cash on them, it's in their wristband, which enables them to pay seamlessly. And on that theme, perhaps a bit more off the wall, but very useful for the customer, for a fashion house, we produce compacts, powder compacts for ladies that had a payment capability in them, so that the models don't have to carry cash because there's not many pockets on the outfits that they wear. And so this was an ability to control cost and put cash into the compact wallet. And they've now asked for a lip gloss, which is quite extraordinary, but anything, I guess, is possible. So there's also the capability to launch with our banking partners products that appeal to their customers and provide that value. What other examples? So TfL, Transport for London, is a huge partner of MasterCard. You'll all probably have an Oyster card. You'll have seen the benefits of speed through the turnstile, safety through the turnstile as the crowds converge. But you can't use that Oyster card for anything else than a tube fare. Wouldn't it be great if you could use it for other things as well? We launched last year with Transport for London an open loop system so that you can use your bank card, be it a debit or a credit card, on the London buses. So you can go onto a bus, tap, no ticket, no paper, you tap, you take your seat, and you have your transport available. We didn't know how this would go down. We weren't sure quite how consumers would react to it. We launched in the summer of last year, and by Christmas we had over 1 million taps. So really picking up momentum. And again, we've had a lot of feedback that this is great for safety and security, because people, particularly late at night, don't want cash on them for obvious reasons, and can use their bank card to get access to transit. We're also spreading it now beyond London. Watch this space with the Oyster card. I see a future where that card you can use for other things. You could also buy your coffee, your sandwich, your newspaper at the train station as we move into an open loop environment. And we've just launched with Merseyrail, and they are enabling 62 stations throughout the Merseyrail network to be contactless. Again, to speed up the experience, to ease the experience for their consumers. And I'll be having a word with Midland Transport to get, I think, Leighton Buzzard on that list. And then, of course, there's the loyalty and rewards that I mentioned. This approach that when you buy, you get rewarded, and you get also promotions and capabilities and vouchers for your preferences and your purchases. MasterCard is developing this. We're working with a third-party organisation. Again, we'll be launching this shortly. And we're working with partners that are experienced and able of bringing in those merchant rewards, managing those merchant relationships, and working closely with the retail community. We can then bring that into offers that are linked to your card. So again, rather than having lots of plastic, lots of bits of paper, lots of confusion as to whether you've got it with you or not, it will be on one capability through the MasterPass wallet. And then I mentioned financial inclusion. Now, financial inclusion is an interesting area because this isn't necessarily just about the unbanked. It's about a force for good in the world. And MasterCard have launched a number of initiatives. I thought I'd just tell you about two. One of them is in South Africa with SASSA, which is the government social security agency. And a third of South Africa's population receive benefits of some kind. And until recently, the only way they could redeem or get those benefits was in cash. And the citizens were getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to queue at the local distribution centre for their cash. And then, of course, individuals are carrying cash on them, which leaves them open and vulnerable to crime and theft. And so we launched with SASSA last year a biometric prepaid card capability. Those cards are now in the hands of a third of the population. It has had a huge impact in reducing cost for the government agency. So for government departments, this saves on administration, paperwork, cost of cash, cash distribution and security. Moreover, it reduces fraud significantly. And one of the problems in South Africa is in the townships, women were being exploited and by being used across different townships and given a different name and a different identity to register for their benefit and then to be taken around the different townships to collect multiple benefits, which is fraudulent, of course. So what we launched and what we designed with SASSA is biometric distribution of prepaid cards. So when the citizen needs to redeem or collect their payment card, there's a thumbprint and voice recognition. And this device is clearly at the distribution centres, and we also designed it so it goes in like a large suitcase, so it can be taken out to the more remote townships to ensure that the payments go to the right people at the right time in a safe and secure way. And this has had a huge impact on liberating women and on giving them the choice of buying what goods and services they want to buy, because that card is in their name and only they can use that card to spend that money. And there is a video clip on that, but I didn't bring it because of shortage of time. But it's an example of how innovation in payments, dependent, of course, on the levels of financial inclusion, the economy that you're working in, can have a huge impact on citizens and on government departments to bring and drive huge efficiency. The second area is that we have partnered with the World Food Programme Because in this world of innovation, technology and investment, a lot of people still go hungry. So how can we utilize this to help the World Food Programme? So we're using this payment technology to help contributions, to help donations globally, but also to enable distribution more fairly and more equitably to those that really need it, so that they have choice about the food that they can acquire. So just an example, again, as I say, of differentiation and using innovation for a world beyond cash effectively to create better product, better brand, and better service to your customers. I think that innovation in payments plays a huge part in the whole sort of banking agenda and arena. And the reason it's so exciting is not just the 70% that is yet to be tapped into, but I sense really, and I know that we are just at the very beginning of this growth. And I think the best is yet to come. So watch this space, and thank you.